I think Greymatters, although it's a small charity at the moment, has tremendous potential to grow because it's covering an area that at the moment is not receiving adequate attention. But I suspect that soon people will realise how important this subject is.
Schizophrenia is a severe, chronic and disabling disease that strikes young people in their prime. Around 1% of the population suffer from schizophrenia. If this happens to you, your life expectancy will be reduced due to physical illness, accident, violent death or suicide. Greymatters deals with life and death in schizophrenia.
My best friend from when we were children got schizophrenia when he was 19. He would be walking along the street and the zombies are coming out of the ground and voices are telling him to do things, and he saw a skull hovering in the middle of the room, and it was terrifying to him. And this is a very gregarious, very popular young man, had everything to live for, and it just robbed him of all of that. By the time he was in his mid-20s, I mean, he committed suicide, I think, when he was 25, 26.
My cousin became suicidal. He went to my grandfather and he said that God is calling him and he is leaving us. He was a great guy. He was a very good child. He jumped from 7th floor down.
You lose them. I mean, they're not them anymore. And they are in a, it's like a living hell. And it's like, it's torture. Because it's the torture of your own mind that you can't escape from.
Appropriate drugs only alleviate and only slow down the progression of the illness. There's no cure for schizophrenia. The drugs also keep patients out of hospital, and the drugs, to a degree, can help a large minority, but not the majority of patients, to be rehabilitated, but there's no cure.
Even effective drugs all have negative side effects, from stiffness and shaking to bone marrow and blood disorders.
The main side effect is you become stupefied, you become groggy, you become it's like a fog, because they're trying to dull it.
Something like 500 patients with schizophrenia a year die by their own hand, and there is potential through pharmaceutical treatments to reduce the suicidal potential.
Greymatters is unique. It funds research into the genetic causes and immediate treatments to stop suicides.
There's no doubt that schizophrenia is genetic. We've known that all along because it runs in families.
Currently, without genetic testing, diagnosis and prescription is hit and miss because medication is affected by the particular genes of each patient. The wrong treatment allows the symptoms to worsen.
If we understand the genetic basis of schizophrenia a bit better, and therefore the biological component of the disorder, we might be in a better position to be more specific in the way that we prescribe drugs.
Greymatters is raising funds for genetic research that can quickly be translated into real benefits for patients. That's why we're already backing research into a genetic testing kit at the Institute of Psychiatry, King's College London. When completed, the genetic testing kit will reduce the levels of haphazard prescribing in schizophrenia. The problem is not knowing enough about each patient's genetic reaction to each drug. By personalised prescribing, each patient will undergo a genetic test. Consultants will be better able to analyse what side effects a drug might cause each patient. Then they'll be more able to determine which drug will be most effective.
We are a research team which combines genetics and pharmacology, therapeutics, and that combination put us, albeit accidentally maybe, at the forefront of this research.
What is absolutely groundbreaking about the kind of research that Greymatters is involved in funding is that it has the potential for giving doctors a pointer as to which is the best drug with which patient. So it's research money that is likely to produce a fantastic outcome given the spend involved.
Schizophrenia is a major scourge. It's what they call cancer of the mind in a way. It's relatively easy to raise funds for breast cancer and so forth, but it's quite hard to raise this money for this hidden scourge in society. But remember that there are something like 350,000 patients in the country.
Psychiatry, and in particular mental illness, does not attract the same kind of public sympathy, and yet the amount of suffering and the problems caused by schizophrenia are just as great as the problems caused by cancer or childhood illness.
Mehran David Soleimani suffered from schizophrenia. He had been talented, kind, generous, musical and sensitive, with an indomitable spirit and sense of humour. He was one of the top students in his class at Paris Dauphine University and was in the last year of his PhD. His life was cruelly cut down in its prime. His mother was deeply affected.
Doesn't matter religion, color of skin, where you come from, it can affect anybody. When I was young and got a young family, I could never, ever imagine that something like this happened to me. Out of my mind, couldn't be, for me it was impossible, but it happened. It can be happen to anybody. I was driven because I suffered very much. My family suffered, and I want to help other people to that case. My big hope is that Greymatters can save lives.